Thank you very much indeed for coming along today. It's a pleasure to be able to welcome so many people to this meeting. Have we got any apologies for absence for the meeting at all?
Good afternoon, Chair. We have no apologies for absence.
And do we have any disclosures of interest that need to be declared? None? And then the minutes. Now, the minutes, I wasn't present at the last minutes. These were done quite a while ago. So we have to, I think, note them and confirm that we've, rather than make any comments ourselves, because none of us were present. So accept the minutes under those conditions. And then item 4, which is the main item for today, is the grant for a local needs housing scheme in Broome. And the officer who's able to introduce us to this is Lisa Davis. Would you like to kind of explain what the item is about? And maybe also introduce the fact that we've got some visitors today.
Thank you, Chair. So the item is a request for capital grant funding for a local housing needs scheme in Broome. If I can introduce the guests first of all. Sarah Brooke-Taylor from Warwickshire Rural Community Council, Neil Gilliver from Warwickshire Rural Housing Association, and Richard Mugglestone from Warwickshire Rural Housing Association. So the bid before us is from Warwickshire Rural Housing Association to part fund a local affordable housing needs scheme. So I can sort of go through and draw out a few bits of the report.
Just the main
yeah.
Just the main points, because I think we've all read them, but it would be nice to be able to, particularly if people are looking in, to be able to understand a little bit about what we're discussing today.
So the scheme is for 9 affordable homes in Broome. It is a local needs scheme, so it will be providing affordable housing to meet an identified local need, and that local need has come from a housing needs survey. So this will be phase 2 of Aspley Close. Phase 1 was completed in 2017, and phase 2 has come about on the back of another housing needs survey commissioned by the Parish Council and Warwickshire Rural Community Council, Linfoot Country Homes, and the Parish Council have worked in partnership over the last 6 years to actually bring this scheme forward. So the 9 affordable homes will provide 6 social rent homes and 3 shared ownership, and includes 4 bungalows. And just to stress that the scheme is meeting an identified local need. The grant requested is £351,000. This equates to 19% of the estimated total scheme cost, which is equivalent of £39,000 per unit. Just to stress that the scheme overall will be financed from borrowing from Warwickshire Rural Housing Association, their own subsidies from their own reserves, and also capital grant funding from Homes England. Just to stress with this scheme, the sort of sustainability credentials. Warwickshire Rural are hoping to provide a scheme, an excellent scheme in terms of its environmental and sustainability credentials. The scheme will reduce carbon dioxide emissions and reduce energy bills for residents. There's a number of sort of proposals in terms of the green infrastructure. It includes air source heat pumps, solar panels, and also importantly, and the first time for Warwickshire Rural, there will be solar batteries to enable unused energy to be stored, which obviously is going to help the residents and their bills. In terms of the financial considerations, should members be minded to approve the bid, it will be financed from grant already held within the council, and also it will be we will be signing a grant agreement under our normal terms as well. So in other words, it's a scheme that will be nil cost to the council. And the way we allocate the funds is we will do our usual in that we look at the closest, the funds that we have, which to date are approximately £4.1 million. We look at the closest use by date and to ensure that any terms in the Section 106s, they allow the spending of that money on this scheme. Yeah, that's probably a synopsis.
Thank you. I was particularly impressed by the fact that you, amongst your sustainability, you were talking about an energy performance certificate of at least B, and that you're going to be, it is proposed that there'll be national space standards, because there's been some houses that have been built to less than that, so that wasn't, and that the council will enjoy 100% nomination rights in perpetuity, which is again something that I was pleased to see. Do we have any comments, any other questions to put to Warwickshire Rural Housing from members of the Cabinet that are here today?
Well, it's more of a comment than a question, but I'm sure you can fill us in. The sustainability is really impressive. I think you're sort of setting the standard here, aren't you? Have you found it difficult to meet that in comparison to other schemes that you've been involved with?
Yeah, this is essentially where the bid's coming from. It's the cost, this additionality of providing the green infrastructure is where a lot of the cost is, and where we're directing a lot of the bid funding to support that additionality, because it is very expensive to provide that, even still over and above building regulations.
Which is something that people like the RTPI have been aiming, supporting the idea that we should be going beyond Part L of the building regulations. But at the moment, we're waiting for different legislation to come from national level. But you have the ability to do that under your own schemes. Could I ask a question? Because there was actually an interesting radio programme on this morning. I know the difference, but a lot of people don't realise the difference between social rent and affordable rent, and these are genuinely social rent. Could you just explain what social rent is? Because say not a lot of people understand that there is that difference between affordable rent and social rent.
That's fine, Chair. Affordable rent is defined as 80% of open market rents. And that could, in effect, in a lot of cases, be above the local housing allowances for qualifying housing benefit applicants, where social rents typically are around about 60% of market rents, looking at generally, so averaging about 20% lower than affordable rents.
As I understand it as well, social rent was originally based on sort of incomes, etc. But in a high expensive area such as ours, trying to make sure that people can genuinely afford to live in these homes, I think is essential. So I've looked through it and I haven't got any particular questions, but Councillor Curtis, have you got?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I think it looks like a great scheme. I just wonder, when the agreement will include local connection criteria, I wonder if you could just give a little bit more detail about what those criteria might be.
So it's the standard criteria as set down through SDC policy. So very briefly, people who currently live in the parish, previously lived in the parish but wish to return, people who are born in the parish, people who currently work in the parish and they'll have a set number of hours and length of time in employment, and then people who have local family who are living in the parish, and again, within a certain time period. So it's as per SDC policy. Thank you.
I mean, I'm minded to definitely support this, but what the question I would ask is, once these are done, could we have more? Can I have more? Really? What kind of plans have you got to be able to go further than this after the Broome build?
Chair, sorry to interrupt. We have recently received planning permission for 10 affordable homes, just 10 affordable in isolation in Claverdon. and we're just in the process of going through the Section 106 agreement. And as it stands, we're just going out to the market for build costs. So I will be preparing a bid shortly, again, to come back to yourselves for another, eco scheme.
Councillor Curtis.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been of some sort of concern to me that we've got over £4 million sitting uncommitted for affordable homes. And yes, like Councillor Junid, I'd like to see more of these schemes coming forward because we want to be able to invest that money in better homes.
And then following that, we're hoping to go in for planning in the next couple of months, a scheme in Ellswood as well, similar local needs scheme. So that will be coming through next year, hopefully.
Would you like to?
Yeah, just worth noting, Chair, that the board are meeting in 2 weeks' time to review the strategic plan for the next 5 years. And there is a commitment still to develop. Obviously, Stratford is a key partner of ours, so we're trying to look at 60 units in a 5-year period that we can develop. But it's not just the existing, it's not just the new units we're committed to developing, it's looking after our existing stock as well. Obviously, we've got hundreds of homes across Stratford, and we are investing a lot of money into those to bring them up to EPCC and eventually up to net zero. So there's a lot of investment of our funds going into bringing homes up to EPC standards as well, but there is still the commitment to new build development.
I know that, as we go forward with our local plan, this is a kind of area that we are very keen to, involve all the kind of social housing providers in trying to do high standard affordable homes. We have before us then, unless anybody's got any other questions that you want to raise, one simple set of recommendations. Number one is that the award of the grant, as described in this report, be approved, and that is for the £351,000 from our capital grant, from our capitals finance to underwrite this. And then the second one is that the council's capital programme be amended accordingly. Now, have I got approval for that? Can I have a proposer? Councillor Curtis proposed, Councillor Liscole second. Okay. And happy to approve? I'm happy to approve. So thank you very much indeed. That wasn't a very long meeting, but a very successful one. So thank you very much indeed for your time. Okay, bye.